All right, welcome to the sneak preview of some new designs that are coming out. These are going to be shown at kind of a larger expanded size right here, so the actual sizes are going to be quite different than what you can see. Okay, let's see here. This is called Branch Falls. This is kind of a far side little creek or kind of, I don't know, like a small, like a garden pool type of area with the side of these rocks like this. It can go on the far side of your bank and have these little falls kind of coming down. So you have some of these branches kind of intertwined in here, and I don't know. I thought that could add a nice touch to some waterfall scenes that we're doing. Just with a little bit of variation, it could be used to the left and right of another type of waterfall that you already have, or it can be just used in it itself and create kind of a more intimate type of setting, like that would be in your garden or something like that, or it could be like a terrarium type of image. You can put other rocks in the foreground and create a near pool kind of edge or something of that sort. But yeah, just some more variation in there. And I don't know, I like kind of aquascapes, in reality, not just stamping, but aquascapes where they create these, I forget what they call them, but they're kind of land and water, where you can put your fish in the water area and you can have things like salamanders or terrestrial types of animals up above. But all kinds of different plants and things like this in the background. And again, this is like a much larger size. I think I designated this one about 3 inches wide or something like that. So you're seeing a really full-blown version in all these examples here. Okay, this is my kind of pictorialite type of woman right here. A pictorialists, I should say. It's kind of in the spirit of, there was this group of photographers that would put these figures in these settings. I don't know when it was, the 1920s or something like that, that I really like. And they're kind of in the spirit of, oh gosh, I forgot that other artist. I don't know, my mind's a blank right now. I've been doing so many designs, so I can't really think of their name right now. But I don't know, it shows like these figures in different types of real romanticized settings. And I see this figure as being something to put down, like in a nighttime sky under a moon or some stars or something like that, or standing on the side of a ocean, vista or something like that, looking out to sea. Now, I've done this one in 2 different sizes, so you can put them in scale in some different settings. But these little figures like this are going to be pretty small. They're going to be, I think, maybe an inch at tallest or something like that. But you'll see several of them in these scenes. I want to create scenes that are a little bit more kind of evocative and figures kind of doing something like, praising the light or something like that, or just really enjoying something. They could be conjuring something too. But I really love those types of images. And the one that really inspired me was this one pictorialist by the name of Annie Brigman, or Anne Brigman, I think. And I saw some of her work in a gallery setting at a museum, I don't know, probably 20 years ago or something like that. And I thought that was really cool. Anyway, let's see. And I think I have her in 2 different positions too. So I flipped it for, instead of just doing 2 sizes of the same thing, I flipped it so a smaller one could be set on the other side of a creek if you use them both in conjunction with one another. Or you can do something like that where it's one of those photographs where, I don't know, there's like a moon in the background and someone is standing there. It looks like they're holding the moon up or something like that. I thought that would be pretty interesting. You see all those types of things on those Instagram photos and those types of things these days. Okay, so campfire and some chairs like this. And again, this one's going to be pretty small. Oh, maybe 3 inches wide or something like that. But you can put that into whatever type of setting you want. Oftentimes we have clearings and meadows and things like that I would typically used to put in, only grass into. But you'll see this kind of theme with these new designs here. I want to put lighting into the landscape. And it was typically sky figures that were doing that, and we have reflected light, but we'll be using fire and different types of lights and lanterns as an excuse for some extra lighting within the landscape. So, I've been doing things like fireflies or something like that, just to bring these kind of dead areas to life with more light. Dead areas in terms of just extra light, just there's areas of shadow and darkness to kind of to contrast against the lighting that we're creating in scenes. So here you have this fire area down here. Okay, fire pit and the chairs to go along with it. You can imagine yourself sitting in those chairs and enjoying your night out. Here's another one right here, just in terms of a little rustic fire ring somewhere. Dog sitting, enjoying his view, perhaps. I have another piece where it's the woman kind of with her arm around a dog, but I thought, just kind of a dog by itself, would be pretty cool. And I imagine him kind of sitting somewhere, kind of just enjoying his view. I don't know, it's sunset or something like that. You can put him on the beach and enjoying the waves. You can have someone out in the water, and it's the dog waiting for their master that's out paddle boarding or something like that, or out fishing, and you got the dog on the shore kind of, eagerly awaiting their return, but keeping an eye on them. Dolphin, something jumping out of the waves, like on Seaside Cove Small, something like that. And this one's going to be really small. It's like maybe a 1/2 inch wide or something of that sort. A couple of them jumping in the distance, maybe on the horizon or something like that. I see something like a full moon on the horizon, and these dolphin kind of jumping out in a spirited way. And again, really small, but just something extra to kind of put on the horizon. Another one here with the added reflections down below, or shadow reflection. Okay, so we've always done things like with, at least in the Stampscapes line, whenever I'm doing like a little waterway, it's typically had water in it, okay? But I thought, we don't really have any dry creeks. And again, it goes back to that first type of log with those falls in it. It's more of like a landscaped thing by some landscape architect or something like that sort. But you see these kind of dry creek beds or something like that in a garden setting, and so that's what we're doing here. So that's why we have all these textures down here. I guess you could make it water too. What you do is you just ink up these rocks right here, and don't ink up the middle of it. And then you just color that area in with, whatever color. You can do it blue if there's a blue sky or something of that sort, which is something a little bit different. And if you've been watching these videos, you know how much I like texture. So a lot of texture running through here. So you put your trees or something like that to each side of that. But you can also just do just green grass or something like that. It can be a really, nicely manicured I don't know, whatever, garden in someone's backyard. Okay, so I was mentioning putting light, kind of man-made light into the landscape. And I saw these types of lanterns, those types of lanterns that people kind of have floating on in their pool or something like that. Or I don't know, people might have some kind of festival where they put these lanterns floating on some kind of waterway. with a little candle in there or something like that. So I thought these would be kind of cool. And again, this is like a really large version. The actual versions will be, under an inch in size. So I have this one right here by itself, and I made this one a little bit larger so you can stamp as many of them as you want to. If you have it on grass, this is a reflection down here, but if you have it kind of like on a lawn type of setting or something like that, throughout a landscape, you can make your own kind of pathway with it and flank it with these lanterns. But there's a single one, double, and we have these triple ones here. The triple ones I didn't put in the reflections because I thought it's getting too much. It's starting to use up too much space on the plate by having these. Okay, these kind of real specialty types of designs here. You can see where we have this little glow down here. So I foresee us kind of using that in some sort of a landscape setting, coloring it in warm tones. And then for me, I would use some of that white pigment ink right around in these areas right here to give it that extra kind of glowing type of illusion. But yeah, so you can stamp these out. I would probably, if you have something, I mean, you can stamp them in black. That would be the easiest thing. But you can also stamp them in kind of a lighter brown color or something like that. And I've left plenty of space in here, as you can see these previous ones where I have that transition tone in there. But you can color those like, your reddish warm tones. And in these open spots here where the flame would be the strongest, you do it in yellow tones. And again, I would use a little bit of that white pigment ink. Okay, moving on. Footprints in the sand. Don't really need to say too much about this one, but I see it being used in conjunction with like the seaside coves, if you're doing sand dunes or something like that, certainly. But I don't know, it can just make for a dramatic lead in. And you can do this where the footprints represent, the footprints of one individual or something like that. But you can also have it where it represents the footprints of two people. So you can have two people kind of walking in the distance, like on a horizon line or something of that sort. A gazebo, talking about kind of garden ornamentation, structures or something like that. And this one I have in a couple different sizes. This area down below here, my kind of inspiration piece was where this was on the side of like this lake. Okay, so you have this little outcropping right here. But I didn't put any types of reflections down here, so you can just do it. First of all, it would make it a much larger design, but you can have it in grass or on the water. And if you have it on water or something like that, I have these rocks over here, these landscaping rocks. So this one would be coming in from the left-hand side on a body of water. But then I've also flipped it, and I've made it quite a bit smaller than the larger one, so it can go on a right side type of shoreline structuring, scenic structuring. Or you can use them both in conjunction with one another. It'd be kind of be interesting to have one larger one here, smaller one out here, and then having those there creates this flanked waterway right here. Okay, a couple kids looking up. So they're gazing at the wonders of the sky or something like that. So it goes like to that pictorialist type of thing. But there, you have a couple kids. A woman in the water, gazing out at the water. I thought it became, it creates kind of this evocative type of feeling, having someone in the water like that. Solid silhouette style right up here, so you can have, a scene in any darkness in the background. It could be pretty dark, but the silhouette figure will still stand out. Transitioning shadow line down here, going from dark to lighter like that. Another silhouette, someone kind of, going out for a ride under the moonlight or something like that, or under the stars. I see them being used in conjunction with the seaside cove again, or something like that, running around on the beach. You can have a really strong sunset scene or something of that sort. Stamp this at the end so that it's nice and crisp. and you'll have a nice kind of, I don't know, again, evocative type of image. Or you can just go really simple with this one too. You can just have some big dramatic moon behind them, and I think that would be really cool. You'll see me doing some of these images with the reflection card types of things in mind too. So I'm always looking for kind of different types of images to stamp in that type of format. I find that format really easy to do. You just use it with a piece of silver or gold foil down here, and you'd have this figure reflected in that area below like that, that folded bottom section. Okay, so a girl in a swing set. So you can see where I have these lines going up, but you don't have, this doesn't have to be at the top of the card coming down like that. I kind of gave us some direction like that. But what you do is if you have this lower into a scene, I picture putting clouds or something like that in the background with her swinging in front of it. I think that would be really fun. You can have an overhanging limb up there, like oak branch or something of that sort, where this is like an outdoor swing on a tree limb or something of that sort. But anyways, yeah, you just extend this up with your own ballpoint pen. If you stamp it lower, you just put your ruler right down here and line it up right here, and then continue that up in these areas like that. Okay, and I've created her where she's fairly strong in silhouette, so you can stamp them over something without having to mask off too much. But I do have some lighting on her just so that it's not just all dark silhouette. But we also have a darker one too, right here. And I've done this one in two different sizes. I think I have her going in the same direction too. I know when I flipped it, I thought, it doesn't look really kind of right to me looking in from the other side. So I think I did her in the same direction. But I did her in a much smaller, she's small too. It's not going to be this big, huge figure like this. I think there's like, I don't know, whatever, 20 different stamps on one plate that I configured. So the smaller one is so that you can stamp like a full tree in a scene and then have that figure in a, hanging out within the card itself. Okay, it's because they're really small. But this one right here, I would probably position her somewhere, closer to the foreground of the scene, where she's overlooking, whatever, elsewhere in the background out here. But I see these kind of swing set ones as being, possibly really dramatic against kind of a nighttime sky or something like that. Or you can do it in the, sunset or something like that too. But I don't know. I see sky figures, imagine them like that. Well, it remains to be seen how people start using them, and I don't know. There's also so many other types of ideas that people end up, utilizing their stamps in. Okay, so another figure like this with a dramatic kind of flowing, dress line like that. But yeah, nighttime sky, I think, would be fantastic. Or again, I see these figures like this kind of out on the shoreline overlooking the sea, I think a lot of those pictorialists, or at least that Brigman, I think she was out in like Carmel, Monterey, Big Sur type of areas like that. And maybe Yosemite as well. I think a lot of it was taken in California for the most part. But yeah, fun stuff. So, anyways, I think she's in a couple different sizes as well. But I like the wind in this one. It just gave her a little bit of a stronger silhouette. Horse with reflection, Don't really need to say too much about that. But I've been using these types of figures with the really strong shadow like that, reflection, in my reflection card scenes. And when you have that shadow down there, it really makes those figures look really three-dimensional. They really pop out. So, but you don't have to do it in the reflection card format. But I think it'd be really cool if you stamp this. You can stamp something like this out on a really reflective cardstock, and I think it'd be really fun. You can do it on anything. You do like stamp this on like a photograph for photo stamping, just with the background all clouds, and just stamp your figures like this on it, and that would be really dramatic. And again, I keep saying this, but just as a reminder, these images will be a lot smaller than what you're seeing them in at, I don't know, kind of blown up here as you know, for this preview. Another horse like this one, it's like, okay, psychologically, is it kind of going away from you or is it looking towards you? Could be either one, you know, with silhouettes. But I see it as kind of looking away, you know, towards the sunset or something like that, you know, in that water reflected area down there. Another one, again, I keep going back to the Seaside Cove and kind of running along the beach like that. So you can stamp this one with that shadow down there or not, but these kind of diagonal striations like that give it some extra movement. So, you know, it would depict, you know, something in motion. I mean, the horse's positioning shows that, you know, anyway, but I think that would be really fun. Okay, let's see here. We have this girl with umbrella. I mean, not an umbrella, with the kite. Okay. And I don't know, going back to that whole idea of kind of garden ornaments, things like that. I thought, let's have some kids kind of doing some different things. So I have her flying a kite, and I have a couple different ones. These ones right here are going to be really small. There's another guy with a kite. But here's the thing. You know, we were talking about kind of putting light back into the scenes. And I want to put some extra colors, just excuse for pops of colors. So I thought kites would be really cool as an option. And again, I like having kind of different types of skies. So it gives you an extra excuse to do. You can have purple and yellow or reds and whatever colors in your scenes with these kites like this. This guy right here, I think he's like maybe an inch tall or something like that. So pretty small. Woman walking her dog in silhouette. Okay, here's one of those things. Here's a woman with a lantern, so I can stamp it in a scene, and I can put that light right in here with like a yellow, you know, ball or something like that, and then I would hit it with a little bit of white pigment ink and have it glowing out to the side like that. Or if you really want to get, you know, pretty dramatic, I don't know if you'd see this in reality, but you can have this where there's some light beams kind of coming out from there like that. That would make it look a little bit more mystical or something of that sort. Or you can have it just kind of a dim glow, you know. But I see here kind of like walking down a street or a dark road or something of that sort with that lighting. I think that would be really evocative and, I don't know, dramatic, I guess. Woman, kind of sitting down, just, you know, the back view of her. She's kind of like in this, you know, got a blanket around her. She's really tiny, but I wanted her in a scene. Okay, so this is like a lantern right here. I have it in two different sizes, and they're really small. Maybe a 3/4 of an inch high, and another one like a 1/2 inch. But I see this as something where we have trees or foreground tree overhangs, and I can put this hanging in a tree or something like that. And then I have it kind of glowing in here where these bands are just kind of broken up a little bit so that when I put that white pigment ink over this, it'll really look like it's glowing, you know, with the strongest amount of light right in this center area. Okay. Message in a bottle. Now this one doesn't really relate to too much. I was doing all those kind of images where I imagined, you know, horses or something like that on the shoreline. And I thought, you know, let's put this little message in a bottle type of thing. I put it on one plate. I don't know if it doesn't really go thematically, but I don't know. I guess in some ways, if you're doing beach scenes with all these little figures on it or different figures on it. But yeah, just a little funky little image, you know, that you can use in your pieces. And this bottle is like, again, it's maybe like an inch wide or something like that. I have it. But you can see the detail that goes into it at this blown up size. Horse and foal, like that. Oh, so a little paper boat. I was doing those lanterns and I thought, maybe I did this one first. I was doing those kids and I thought, this one's like really, really small. But I thought, we're doing all these little kids kind of running around and, little garden ornament, like these little ponds and little fountains and things like that. And I thought, let's do a little paper boat, that you can have in there. I might do this one where it's like, I'm doing those reflection cards and I just stamped this on a separate piece of white paper and then I cut it out. It's really easy to cut out because of all these straight lines. And you can position it down in your reflected area and it'll look like this little paper boat floating on the water. I thought that would be kind of cool. All right, so here's one of those things. It's like a little, fountain type of pond. In your backyard landscaping or someone's yard, little lily pads or something like that. You can put that little boat down in this little area like that, have some kid out to the side maybe. Um, you can have your house in the background, or something like that. And I don't know, just a little bit of a different take on a little pond. It's, much more of a man-made one. I mean, you can have it out in nature too, but I don't know. That was the general idea. Now this one right here, I'm not really done with. This is another pond, but I thought, that's not going to look like a pond. It would look like if I did this one, I'd put it more like with lava. So still working on it. I don't know. I might release it at some point in time, but I thought, looks more kind of crater-ish. All right, so stone walkway, pathway, kind of leading up is a strong visual lead-in into a scene. I've left the sides kind of tapering off like this, so you can put whatever you want out here. Could be in a nice tight landscape, where they have this right in here, or you can have it out in nature, like I don't know, whatever, a state park or something like that, like it's on trail. All right, so here's another type of thing. While I was doing kind of walkways, I did this more kind of railroad tie type, like that. But again, strong visual lead-ins into your pieces. You can have a house up above, or it can just be going up, to get to a different elevation within a given, location, property, or whatever. But I thought it would work well with both of these, both out in nature or in a, tightly, a highly landscaped, whatever, residential backyard it could be. All right, so another bridge in the background of your pieces. I did this one in two different sizes, so you can have a couple different stone bridges, whether they're kind of more decorative or functional, or it could be an old landscape or something like that too. And here's another bridge like this, so stone bridge, something real rustic. You might see it in a botanical gardens type of thing or something of that sort. Or you can have your rustic looking houses in the background or something like that. Could be something of the Lord of the Rings and the Shire. All right, tents, to go along with those, like that fire pit and chairs or something like that. And again, it's going back to that whole thing about kind of ornamentation. It could be, these places could be, like backyards, or it could be state parks or something like that. I don't know if you'd set up a tent in your backyard, but, some of the imagery, can be used for that. Like that fire pit could be in someone's backyard. And another tent like that, a couple different ones. All right, so a little bit more dramatic with the horses and the reflections like this. I think this one will provide a really nice kind of optical landing spot and attention getter in a scene. The width of this one, I think it was like 3 inches or something of that sort. I have this plate packed with designs, so I did this. I thought this one looks really good, so I did it in 2 different sizes. For different settings, they could be used separately from one another, but the smaller ones can also be used in the distant areas over here, so you can have like 6 horses riding in or something like that. Or you can put them, I guess you can put them over to the right of these ones right here, which would create kind of this movement going that way, because you'd look at the larger ones first and the smaller ones second. There's 3 horses right here. The smaller version, I mean, you can stamp however many you want. You only want 5 horses, then maybe don't color this one in the smaller one and put more over here. Or these 2 horses right here could be, to the right of this center one. You can do it however you want. I've created enough separation right here just so that it's not quite so symmetrical. These 2 are a little bit closer, so if you wanted to just ink up one of these, it might be a little bit tougher. Or if you just want a single horse, probably just do this one right here at the side, because it would be easy to not ink up these 2 due to the space. But again, this is going to be a much smaller image. 3 horses profile. Let's see, let's move this down a little bit so you can see it. A couple deer like that with their reflections. Again, I like that really kind of 3-dimensional look when these are stamped on mirrored cardstocks. I think they look really fun. Okay, another, people like dog walking imagery, I find. So here's someone with a couple dogs like that. And a well here. Okay, so this one I really like the look of. And so I did it in 2 different sizes. And again, they're kind of small, so it's not like this one big dominant image. And again, it was just so that I can get a lot more designs onto one plate, or I can do 2 sizes of it instead of one really big one. But this is one that I would have thought, would have been pretty cool if it were available in a larger size as well. It could be a really dominant, whole focal point type of image. But I don't know. It's like maybe making them smaller, though, it makes them a little bit more versatile in terms of what we're using it in a standard 1/4 page type of card, So, the smaller ones these days especially, I think are a little bit more useful, or more, not useful, but more versatile. That's the word I'm looking for. And another woman like this, with outstretched arms like that, standing in the wind, really evocative, standing and looking over some sort of setting, I guess. You can put her at the peak of something, where she's kind of enjoying her view and the air, and yeah, you can just have her kind of I don't know, whatever, communing with nature. All right, so that is the new designs, a little sneak preview here, a lot of them, and we'll have a lot of really packed plates with a lot of these designs in a couple of different sizes. All right, anyways, hope you enjoyed them. I hope you are looking forward to, using them. Hopefully this kind of got the, the first kind of gears in motion in terms of, imagining how these could be used in scenes. And that was my kind of inspiration for this one. It was a lot of evocative types of settings, with most of these designs in here. And again, putting light back into the scenes in kind of new types of ways, and kind of a lot of emotion, I guess, in these pieces. All right, thanks again. And if you have any questions, drop me a note in the comments sections. I'll be getting these configured up into plates, and I don't know, they'll be out there on the horizon sometime, and our near future.